What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Adidas Adizero SL2 Summer 2024 Revenge Tour. It is now day 5. We have put this thing through the absolute paces. We've done a 20-mile double day comparison with the Mach 6, comparison with the Rebel V4, fast workouts. We're going to do the long run soon. Everything else in the book. Now, today we have a matchup of the heavy hitters. We are putting up the Adizero SL2 against one of my favorite daily trainers of the year, if not my favorite $140 shoe out there for marathon training, the Asics Novablast 4. It's got a high cushion in the back here. It's protective. It has just a little bit of fun. It's comfortable. It has the right amount of padding, and it comes in at a decently light weight. So today we're putting up the current leader in the clubhouse for a marathon daily trainer versus new kid on the block, newcomer here, Adidas Adizero SL2. Let us get into it. So today I started in the back because I thought that would be better, because the front's where we have all the noise usually, and now I think somebody is shredding mattresses in their backyard over there. So we're actually gonna have to move to the front. Would you look at that? A little bit of a reverse today. All right, let's do it. Alright, we are back in the front here. I think that's going to be good. I still hear some noise, but you guys should be okay. So, Asics Novablast 4 versus Adidas Adizero SL2. So, when this was first requested, and this has been requested a lot because the Asics Novablast 4 is a popular shoe. It's hot on the market, $140, but you get a ton of stack, a ton of support, a ton of comfort, and that's the thing with the shoe. It is very comfortable. So, when I first heard a few folks on the channel suggesting, hey, can you do a comparison between these two? I was thinking it's not really a fair comparison, because my first few runs in the Adizero SL2, this was not the most comfortable shoe in the world. Now, it wasn't an uncomfortable shoe, but there's more elements in it that reminded me of a speed shoe. So in the Adizero SL2, you have a core here of the Light Strike Pro foam from Adidas, that racing foam. It is very bouncy, and especially on those first few runs out of the box, it was wild and uncontrollable. If you watch the first run review, I called this the most unstable shoe that I've ever run in. And that's completely opposite to what we're getting in the Asics Novablast 4 here. This is very planted, very stable, and a more comfort-oriented shoe. So again, when I first heard folks asking for this review, this comparison, I was thinking, well, it's not that close. Asics Novablast 4 is a stable, comfort-oriented shoe. Adizero SL2 is an unstable, soft, fast, bouncy, short-distance shoe. But as I've gotten more miles in the Adizero SL2, this comparison has started to make more and more sense, and that's why I'm doing it now versus at the beginning of the week, because I was thinking they weren't even that close to be compared at the beginning of the week. But now, as I've put almost 60 miles on the Adizero SL2, and we are going to get this guy up to 100 really soon, but this has shifted more toward a versatile, everyday type of shoe like the Novablast 4. So quick overview of both these shoes here. SL2, this is Adidas's speed-oriented daily trainer in the lineup. They also have the Supernova Rise. This has the racing foam. It has the Adizero design language, so it looks streamlined, stripped down. Asics Novablast 4, this is in the... They don't have an explicit Blast line of shoes, but they do have a Novablast, Superblast. This is more of their marathon training product silo, if you will, versus the gel shoes. Those are more of the standard traditional, the gel Nimbus, the gel Cumulus. You can use those for marathon training as well. Those are less fun-oriented. Superblast, Novablast, these are a little bit more of the modern, bouncy, exciting shoes in the Asics lineup. So key of the Novablast here, you get 42 millimeters of foam in the back. It makes it feel, and you guys know I don't love always talking about the specs, but it makes the shoe feel a lot taller than anything else for $140, and this might be the most foam you can get for $140. So Novablast is definitely more stacked and more protective than the SL2, but the foam that we're getting in here isn't as bouncy as what we get in the Adidas. So overall, the Asics Novablast 4, you do get more padding around the upper. You get this wider base. Let's compare them right here. Bada boom. I don't know if you can see. Let's compare from the back here. Yeah, look at that. This is where you can really see it. You get a much wider base in the Novablast. It is a little bit more oriented towards stability, and even as I'm just pressing it down right here versus pressing down in the Adidas shoe, you can see the Adidas shoe wobbles a little bit more when we emulate how it would feel to land in the shoe, versus the Novablast. You can see this heel really just gets planted down and lands flat. So if you need prescriptive stability, if you're looking for a shoe with a little bit of stability and you want fun, I would 100% go for the Novablast. So far, the SL2 has been a little bit more versatile and definitely more speed oriented for me in my testing than the Novablast. Yeah, and the other difference between these shoes and between these foams is soft versus firm. The Adizero SL2 is one of the softest daily trainers that I've tested. I would put it right up there with the New Balance 1080 V13. So if you do not like soft shoes, Novablast is a great alternative. Puma Velocity Nitro 3 is also a great alternative. But the amazing thing about the SL2, and I think it's because of the Light Strike Pro foam they use, it still has that density to it that a lot of their Light Strike Pro racing and training shoes have. The Boston 12, the Adios Pro 3. I've not tried the Primax Strung, but I really want to. But it has that feel where those Light Strike Pro shoes, they do not bottom out. Something about the foam, it's lightweight, it's bouncy, but it has this density to it that when you compress it, it responds well. And it responds well to weight, force, power, however you want to describe it. But when you put down force into either of these shoes, both of them respond well. So I would not worry about bottoming out at least up to 90 minutes in either of these shoes. I have taken the Novablast up to 23 or 22 mile long run. It did great. I have not taken the SL2 yet for a long run past, I think 12 miles is the max that I've taken it. No, 10 miles, and it performed really well. So SL2, even though it's soft, it doesn't have that bottoming out. It doesn't have as much ground feel as you might expect. And even in the first few runs, I thought it had more ground feel than it did just because of how soft and uncontrolled it felt. But as we've gotten more miles into the shoe, it did take some time to break in. Both of these shoes take some miles to break in. All right, what I would love to do is get both of these on foot and do a fit and feel comparison so we can get a little bit of a sense of who each of these is going to be best for based on your on-foot preferences. So one major difference between these two, thinking about on-foot feel and upper and comfort, is the Asics Novablast 4 with the padding and also with the material that they've chosen for the upper. You see this here? It's almost like this cotton t-shirt. It does not feel that breathable in the summer. It did not make my list for best summer running shoes, that's for sure. But man, just stepping into this, and I've been rocking with the SL2 for pretty much every run this week. I think I might have, I did the Rebel V4 comparison, but I've been running in the SL2, so I have not tried anything else on it. The Novablast 4 is just so comfortable. That additional foam does make a difference. And I was initially thinking that the SL2 wouldn't be that versatile, and it's not that stacked, but I took it for a 6-mile recovery run this morning, and I've been doing the past 2 days just recovery miles, and the SL2 did perform well. So both of these shoes can do a variety of runs. I think it's going to come down to whether you want that massive stack feeling or a little bit of a streamlined feeling, because just having these both on foot right now, the SL2 is so much more streamlined. It feels a lot lighter weight. I think it's only about 20 grams lighter, but it feels less bulky. It feels more stripped down. Just look at this, and look at the contouring of the foam, not necessarily just in the back with the width, but the front as well. If we take a look at this from the top, you can see the Asics has the foam peering out from the sides. Not even peering, bulging out from the sides. It is a very broad base from the back all the way up to the front. SL2 does not have the same effect. It is not as wide. It feels a little bit narrower. And just standing in these two right now, I can feel that additional stability from the Novablast 4, especially in the heel. And it also feels like I'm about a half an inch taller on the left side with the Novablast 4. So the additional stack, the additional cushion, that additional comfort baked into the Novablast 4 is very noticeable on foot. The SL2 is not an uncomfortable shoe, but if you are choosing a shoe based primarily on comfort, if your number one factor when you're getting your new daily trainer is comfort, that would be the Novablast 4, hands down. Now, if we're thinking about speed and versatility, that's where the SL2 is going to take it, especially for speed. Versatility is going to be a tough one, but I want to do a little walk test here. Oh, let's see. So this is the ironic thing about the Novablast 4. It has a lot of cushion, and I like it for running long, but because it has so much cushion, for shorter runs and for walking, it feels a little bit awkward to have on foot. This is how I described the Superblast when I was just doing a stroller jog with it, a 30-minute stroller jog when I was down in Florida. It's a little bit like using a machine gun to kill ants. It's overkill. I don't need this much stack on my foot just to walk around. So if you're choosing a shoe, again, for casual use, plus gym, plus some running on the treadmill or 30 minutes just around the neighborhood, I would go for the SL2. Me personally, I don't like the feeling of this much foam on my foot. It feels like it's a tool for a specific job, the Novablast 4, which is running a lot of miles, feeling comfortable, feeling protected. You can see just with the bulging out foam, I would not want to be walking on this all day. I don't need everything that's baked into the shoe unless I'm actually going long. SL2 here, and this is the beauty of the shoe, it has just enough, similar to the Rebel V4, it has just enough of what I need and nothing I don't. It feels a lot more stripped back, and that's in the upper, that's in the midsole, that's in the outsole as well. And that's one of the things that I love that they did about the outsole on the SL2 here is they actually gave us a decent bit of rubber. They gave us more rubber on the SL2 through the front and the back than we get on the Novablast, and it's a better quality rubber. This is not the Adidas Continental rubber, but it's just as sticky and just as durable. So if you need that wet weather capability, that would also be the SL2 here. The Novablast is one of the worst shoes I've actually tested in the wet weather. So let's go pop down the street, do a little jog test comparison between these two. Man, I need a mosquito spray, bug spray sponsor. This is tough out here. I'm getting chewed. Yeah, even just walking down to the street, this SL2 is so much more flexible, so much softer, so much more comfortable. I really think that the firmness that we're getting in the Novablast 4, again, it really benefits me most when I'm spending a long time on my feet. Or I know a lot of bigger runners like this as well for a daily trainer because it has that extra support. But just for doing a 30-minute jog or this walk down to the street, like I don't need all that. But all right, quick jog test. You guys already know it is brought to you by our friends over at Crocs. Did you know that Crocs is the comfiest recovery slides in the game? Lab tested by me, verified by my feet. I'm just kidding. I don't want to get sued. It is not lab tested, but these are very comfortable, very soft. If you like soft and squishy, this is the cushy for you. These are very comfortable. This might be the most comfortable non-running shoe I've ever put on my foot. So if you're looking for that for the summer, I would go for these Crocs. Now, quick jog test. Asics Novablast 4 versus Adidas Adizero SL2. Let us do it. So I never ran in the past versions of the Novablast, and I've heard it was a very bouncy shoe. I mean, that's what you think of when you hear the word blast, that it's gonna blast you off. But this generation is not bouncy. It's a little bit more planted, it's a little bit tamer, and it's not a shoe that I would necessarily try to run fast in. So even just doing this jog down the street, it's not even close. This is so much bouncier. I get a lot more flexibility. It feels a lot more natural while still giving me a decent amount of protection. It really is a unicorn. I called this the unicorn the other day. That's what it feels like. And I know I've been hyping it up on this channel, but it can go head to head with nearly any shoe that I've tested it against because it has that protection, it has that comfort, but it also has that pep and that bounce. The last thing we really need to do is the long run in this guy to see if it can take the crown. But against a shoe like the Novablast, it is going to be more versatile because it works a little bit better for fast, but also it works better for relaxed miles. So I want to do a quick test in the Novablast here because I've actually not tried to run too fast in this shoe because it's not a shoe that encourages it. So I'm going to do some quick strides up and down the street in the Novablast just so we can get some testing on it with faster running because it's not something we've attempted so far. So the real secret sauce of the Novablast here is how much protection you get at the weight. So it comes in at 280 grams in my size, which is lighter than a shoe like the Saucony Ride 17. It's lighter than the Nike Pegasus, lighter than the Puma Velocity Nitro 3, but you get more cushion, not just vertically, but widthwise than all of those shoes. So that's the real secret of the Novablast 4. Protection for weight. If you're thinking about foam to stack ratio, one of the best in the game. That's why people love the Superblast as well, because it's so light, but you get a ton of cushion. So it's not necessarily about speed, but it still feels easy to run in this shoe at the end of a long run when you're feeling beat up, right? Versus a shoe like Hoka Skyward X, even if you're going 3 hours in that because of the weight, that's a bad example. But a heavier shoe, Triumph 22 is a great example, right? Because that's not as bouncy as the Skyward X. In the Triumph 22, it was harder for me to turn over my legs at the end of that run because of how heavy it was, and it didn't feel like the protection was that great. Skyward X was a bad example for that because the protection is amazing, the bounce is amazing. Even though it's heavy, I get that benefit of bounce. So let's do a little bit of a more than a jog test. I want to do a fast running test. I'm going to do like a 200 down the street here and back, see how these Novablasts do. So before we do this, SL2, I've been ripping off faster workouts this week. I did a 200 to 800 meter ladder up at Harrisburg Park earlier this week. So as I was going through doing a 200, a 400, and 800, and then going back down, I was ripping those at about a 5 flat pace, which I have not hit that, I don't know, ever. And then 2 days ago, I took this for some mile repeats at about a 6 flat to 550 against the Rebel V4, and it's performed really well. So I'm not gonna even turn my watch on, but I'm gonna try to hold about a 6 to 6:30 pace in the Novablast 4, and we'll see how these guys do. Let's do it. Yeah, that was not it. These are not a good shoe for running fast. So as I thought, and this is why I've never tried to run fast in the Novablast 4, it's just not designed for that. It's designed for comfort, it's designed for protection, it's designed for marathon training, spending a long time on your feet while absorbing some of the impact. So if that's what you're looking for, I would go for the Novablast 4. It's not going to be as versatile as the SL2. This is the versatility champion right now. Reminds me a lot of the Saucony Triumph 20. It's the shoe that you can go up to 90 minutes, 2 hours. We're gonna do the 2.5 hour long run test in it soon, but it's a shoe that it's done everything I've asked of it so far. So if you want versatility, a more streamlined feel, SL2. If you want protection and comfort, hold on. Untying shoes. Yeah, protection and comfort, that is the Asics Novablast 4. No ground feel whatsoever in the shoe, but it's also not a shoe that makes me want to turn over the legs, run fast. Also, even just doing that little test right here, I can feel my feet. What is it? It was 90 earlier today. Yeah, it's 91 right now. I can feel my feet really heating up in this guy. Not a great summer running shoe. This is a much better summer running shoe. So if you're looking for something to go short and fast this summer, some long run, some versatility, that would be the SL2. Once winter comes back around and you're just putting in the miles, you want to be super protected, I would go Novablast 4. So as I initially thought, comfort for long miles, speed, fun. This is definitely softer in the SL2. This is firmer and more stable. I hope this was helpful, guys. If you're still not sure what shoe to get, or if you just want to check out a cool tool, go to runningshoematcher.com. I need to do a better job of talking about this. So you can either go to supwell.io and click the Shoe Matcher tab, or go to runningshoematcher.com. This is a tool that I built, spent a lot of time making sure we got the right exact matches. You can go in there, say if you want a soft shoe or a firm shoe, if you're looking for a daily trainer or more of a race day shoe, a comfort shoe, whatever it is, you go in there, you answer 5 questions, and we'll match you with the shoe. So make sure to do that. Make sure to pick up your Crocs recovery slides using my link. You will not regret it. These are some of the most comfortable footwear I've ever used. As always, guys, I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you watching, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video, baby. Let's go. One more thing, guys. I did this with the Invincible versus the Novablast 4. From this angle, you can really see the difference. Look how much taller the top of the Novablast 4 is versus the SL2. Again, SL2 way more streamlined. It has a little bit more of an aggressive stance, that on your toes stance. It doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel too aggressive. Again, it feels okay for running relaxed, which I was surprised about. But Novablast 4 just so much taller, and you can see how much thicker this stack of foam is in the back versus the SL2. So if you want the utmost in marathon training comfort for $140, that's a Novablast 4. If you want the most fun and speed you can get for $130, that's going to be the SL2, baby. But these are two, man, I'm glad I turned this on for the one more thing, because these are probably two of the best examples of what they're trying to do. Thinking about intended purpose, both of these shoes knock it out of the park. They're not trying to be the same exact thing. SL2 is trying to be that fast, fun, versatile machine, and that's what it is. I would rather pull for the SL2 every day if I had to choose one do-it-all. But the Novablast 4, if I want something for $140 that's going to pamper the legs, that's what I'm going for. So, man, you can go wrong with between these because they offer such different things. It's really about what you're looking for, but both of these are excellent shoes. Two of the best shoes right now designed for those everyday miles. They're just a little bit of different spins on it. But all right, I think that's all I have for you today. I'll see you tomorrow.